Hello, it's Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and this morning I'm looking at a new edition of a book which has been around for a while now. It's from TOLLEY'S, Butterworth's, the LexisNexis organisation, and it's TOLLEY'S Company Law Handbook for 2012. It's now in its 20th edition, and it's been written and edited by Janet Rosser. This is the book here. We'll have a look at it in a minute. We've given it the title on the web, incorporating the latest developments in company law. This new 20th edition balances accountancy and law coverage, and that's exactly what it does. This is the book here, front cover, spine, and then the back. Be careful with the pages, they're very, very thin, as you can probably see. There's a very good index at the back, which I found very helpful. This is a subject where you do have to have a good index to try and find things. That gives you an idea of the contents of the book, which sets out in the various chapter headings what you need. Do read the introduction about this book, which explains how the book is actually set up. And of course, with the new Companies Act 2006 in force, it's very useful. For company law, you always need to have abbreviations, which are very helpful. Then the actual book itself is structured in that way. You can see that's chapter 8. Gives you an idea of how it's actually structured. And you've got various appendices at the back. For instance, that gives you an idea there of the appendices that you have with the various chapters. And of course, right at the back, you've got a series of appendices again on things like takeovers and mergers. So it's a really excellent book and very much something that you need in practice. So here again we've got the 20th edition, and if you're a solicitor, accountant or company secretary, this is the handbook you have to have in our view, especially as the new edition contains a significant amount of new material already indicated about the new Companies Act legislation. In fact, we would say that this authoritative work of reference, which is now about 1400 pages, is now well indispensable. Not only does the latest edition keep you au fait with current developments in company law, it at the same time maintains a balance between accountancy and law, which is actually very important, especially at this time of economic downturn. And as I've said, now that the 2006 Companies Act is in force, the handbook provides full coverage of it to date. And there's an editorial reminder here that the Act extends to the whole of the United Kingdom, including rather than excluding Northern Ireland. And new material therefore includes new requirements from Companies House for the filing of annual returns by certain types of companies, and that's covered right at the beginning of the book. It also reflects significant and substantial changes to the City Code on takeovers and mergers, which is at the back of the handbook. In another development which is new, the requirements for overseas companies to register charges over property in the UK have now been removed. Other company law provisions are also covered, with the exception of insolvency, including things like the listing rules, prospectus rules, disclosure and transparency rules, and takeover code. And of course there's plenty of case law. As a work of reference, we think the handbook offers inbuilt accessibility in that, first of all, chapters are alphabetized for ease of use, starting with accounts, annual returns, and then going to takeovers, which is why the takeovers and mergers is actually at the back. A useful feature is that individual chapters are introduced by a summary of contents, listing in order of paragraph numbers, which I certainly find very, very helpful. You can see that example there. So let me just conclude by saying that if your career requires you to demonstrate familiarity with the leading edge of company law matters, and who doesn't these days, you need this book. The publication date is July 2012, and I'm very grateful to TOLLEY'S to cover this area. Their new sort of little logo is accuracy, clarity, value. That's exactly what you're getting. Thank you very much. Bye bye.